Just outside Goondiwindi, looking at this this pretty unique art display. I guess my last video I was talking about multitasking and why you shouldn't do it. Well, I guess the artist who did this work wouldn't have been multitasking too much, because he would have been pretty much having the mindset of concentrating on one task at a time, although there's a planning stage course. But this is quite unique, and it's quite I guess it's quite spectacular. And so on the side, it's not far from out of town, that is, outside of Goondiwindi. And today I want to talk about art and how it's played a part in my life, believe it or not. My mum was a wannabe would-be artist back in the day, and she did quite a little bit of art work, and some of that stuff hung up on the wall, I should say. Geez, the grammar's bad. Hung up on the wall, and I guess that may have been my inspiration. A few kangaroos behind me. But I was sent to art school when I was young, because art therapy, if you know, you know, is really important for kids that are struggling to concentrate, and it gets them centered and focused. And I guess this is my story, how I started to get into art at a very young age, because my parents pushed me into those classes, which apparently I enjoyed. My journey when I was a kid, because I enjoyed it and I've used it into my adult life at times. I have painted throughout my life, more or less landscapes, and also, but with a palette knife. I've done brush work. I don't enjoy the brush work. I enjoy the palette work more. And I sort of go through times where I'll paint for 6 months, then give it up for 3, then paint for 6 months. It's one of those things. It's based on the amount of time I have available to me, because, you know, I do work quite a bit. But art is really important, and this trip that I'm on at the moment, if you watched the last video, the silo artwork, you would have noticed that fantastic artwork that was done on those silos. This is a bit of a circuit, which I think I mentioned before. It's called an art circuit. Not that I'm following the whole circuit, because there's just too many miles or kilometers to cover. The coverage would take me quite, you know, it'd take me days and days. It'd take me more than a week, and I just don't have the time, because I do have to get back to work next week. So at the moment, I'm just covering a part of it, and it's actually quite spectacular. I'm just going to shoot around. You can see that road that I come down. There's the famous bin chicken, and as you can see, I'm just going to bring that forward a bit further down there, some more, and it actually covers more, around about 1 kilometre or so, and I'm not going to be able to cover it all. I'll try and cover as much as I can, but I'm on the main road, and like I said, there's a lot of traffic, a lot of road trains, as I stated. And art, I want to go back to art. It's played an important part in my life. It really relaxes you. It gets you in the zone. It gets you, or enables you to practice mindfulness in a sense, because I've mentioned before, mindfulness is not just sitting there and I don't know, just sitting there trying to meditate like a yogi, or some person sitting in the Himalayan mountains. It's not like that. You can do it while you're cooking, cleaning, making your bed. It's just being present and mindful of the act that you're doing at the time, in order to avoid those moments or those thoughts that come into your head, or constantly come into your head, that keeps you too alert, puts you in that sympathetic nervous system state, and you don't want to be in that all the time. And you watch my other videos, you know, I've chirped on that before, but this is more or less why, a bit about my history and my background of why I feel art's important, and how it's played a role in my life and my journey through life as an area that has helped me relax a lot and helped me come in and out of that state of mindfulness. And I know art, people think they can't do art, they think it's too difficult, but these days I think it's much more doable than it was in the past, because there's so many tutorials on YouTube that can get you started from the basics and then start from that, and then away you go. And I just found, after years of painting off and on, it's easier for me to do. I'll just turn that around, just get a look at this little guy here, is to do palette knife painting, because it's something you can do quickly and it's easy, and if you bugger it up, you can just do another one. It's as simple as that. But the science around painting and why it's important, or also known as art, they use it on kids. As I stated, they used it on me back in the day to calm me down. I had a lot of energy and needed to be calmed down a bit. I'm just moving over to this other one. It's a nice looking flowery over here, actually. Yeah. And there you go. Pretty good. And then down the road we should look again, and this artwork was, you know, it's obviously welded together with steel and bits and pieces of engines, and that's the whole idea, is to use things that might be disregarded, thrown away. And in this case, what they've done, the artist has put these sculptures together, and then of course behind me, as I walk down this road, there's a heap of people pulling up. I guess doing the same thing that I'm doing, is looking at this artwork. So it is a private road. Apparently you have to be invited to come down here. So I'm sort of sneaking on a bit. I won't go too far down the road, because public liability and all those things in this country, it's crazy now. You can't do anything like we could do in the past. Everyone's too scared to do things because you'll end up in the court of law and etc. etc. I won't get into that. But yeah, art therapy's been a big part of my life. This trip I'm doing at the moment, I've incorporated this art. What do they call it here? Well, I guess it's an art route you take, and each town has their own special piece. So obviously it's designed for tourism, and design you to get into these places and spend money, but also visually look at something that's very attractive and very inspiring. So I'm just going to come back. This is a very, very basic video today. I'm not getting into too much. I'm going to come back. I'll make the kangaroo, because there are plenty of these guys out, and living in Australia, you got to be. And there's my mate, probably the best mate I meet on this whole trip. Maybe it's the only mate. How you going, buddy? So yeah, as you can see, this trip, there's a purpose to it. Although it's to get away from work, recharge the batteries, relax, I do incorporate other activities in it, and it usually revolves around looking at art, and looking at art that is quite different. So yeah, that's my take on art therapy, my experience as a young kid up into the present, being a type of hobby artist as such, going in and out of doing artwork based on my time and how I feel at the time. Anyway, I'll cut it short there, starting to ramble on a bit. Until the next video, au revoir from the outskirts of Goondiwindi and this fantastic art piece. Catch you on the next video. Peace out from the road.